What's up guys, welcome to another episode of Flux Fridays, once again being uploaded on a Saturday because I may or may not have gotten distracted by the Germa Twitch stream on Friday and forgot to record anything. The topic of today's video is one of the most clickbaity topics in Trove on YouTube, but this video is a bit different as I'll be explaining a way to make flux while gardening without having to wait several days and without having to invest millions of flux. Today we're going to be crafting, growing, and selling rich fertilizer for profit on the marketplace. This farming method can be done with very little starting flux as an investment and requires 0 levels of gardening. So any player that has access to the marketplace can start investing right away. Also, keep in mind that flux prices often change over time and may vary depending on what platform you're on. To start things off, first craft a gardening bench in the builder's crafting bench, or simply locate the gardening bench on the northwest side of the hub world. The item that you're going to want to craft first is the water sponge, which requires 2 mushroom chunks and 3 glim to craft. If you don't already have these materials, you can simply buy mushroom chunks on the marketplace for around 40 flux each, and glim can be purchased for around 2 flux per glim. You could farm for each of these materials regularly, but in all honesty, it's probably more worth your time to just invest some flux into this instead, and buy it on the marketplace, as you'll end up making a solid profit regardless of whether or not you buy the materials or farm for them. Once you've crafted some water sponges, head to any adventure world that has water. The easiest way to do this is to go to a drowned adventure world, so I'll be heading to the drowned Uber 3 adventure world. Once you've reached some water, equip your sponges on your hotbar and throw them into the water until you've used all of them. Sometimes the sponges will bug out and won't actually give you any water, so make sure you double check at the end to confirm that you've used all of your sponges and that none of them were returned to you. After you've used all your sponges and collected some water, it's time to head back to the gardening bench. The next item we have to craft is the unripe fertilizer heap. Just as we did for the sponges, simply buy the mushroom chunks and glim off the marketplace if you don't already have enough. I don't ever recommend buying water from the marketplace, however, which is why we crafted and used the sponges, because the price of water fluctuates too much and is often too high to consider purchasing. Now that you've crafted some fertilizer heaps, it's time to find a location to place and grow them. You can plant them in a club world, but I personally recommend putting them on your cornerstone, since it's pretty hard to forget to harvest them if you see them every single time you go to your cornerstone. The way I have my farm set up is that I have a platform on top of my house with the bottom layer being solid and any additional layer being made of glass. Crops can't grow if there's a solid block above it. However, they'll grow just fine if the block above it is glass. I also have my platform at 15 by 15 blocks since I used to farm crops that were better to grow in sets of 3 by 3. But for this farming method, you can set up your platforms to be the full cornerstone length and width of 16 by 16, for a total of 256 blocks per floor. I never really needed more than 2 floors for plants, but feel free to make as many layers as you want. Once you've created a dedicated area for your farm, it's time to plant your fertilizer heaps. As I said before, plants won't grow if they have blocks other than glass above them, so make sure that you place them in a location where they can grow. Other than that, you're all set to let them grow. Unripe fertilizer heaps take an hour of real life time to grow, so they're perfect to plant before you do your daily or weekly Trove tasks. After an hour has passed and your plants look like this, you're all set to harvest. To harvest your crops, simply switch to build mode and mine them all with your laser. After harvesting your crops, you're all set to sell your rich fertilizer for a profit on the marketplace. At the time of recording this, 1 rich fertilizer sells for around 80 to 90 flux each, meaning that even if we bought the mushroom chunks and glim, we'd still be profiting around 45 flux per fertilizer heap. In other words, 1 full floor in your cornerstone of 256 total fertilizer would profit around 11,000 flux if you purchased the materials, or around 21,000 flux if you already had the materials. While this may not seem like a huge amount of profit, it is a solid profit for such little investment. In the end, this farming method is perfect for newer players that want to create some passive income without having to spend an absurd amount of flux to start farming. As you get more flux, feel free to invest more into crafting materials, craft more plants, and create more floors in your cornerstone to plant things on. That's it for this episode of Flux Fridays. Hopefully you learned something new in today's video. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, be sure to like and subscribe, as I'm always creating more Trove guide videos every single week. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, be sure to let me know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.